Really dumb move. So one of the fans for the Raiders brought a Kermit puppet dressed up as Patrick Mahomes, and the Vegas rookie safety, Trey Taylor's his name, grabbed the puppet from the fan and went to the videotape, and here it is.
Oh, boy.
It's still early in the year. Kind of stuff like that happens. It'll get handled when it gets handled.
Patrick, like, a ton of people send that saying, am I sure you're allowed to do it?
Not really, honestly. Everybody kind of just lets me play. I mean, they know how I am, so they don't need to send me anything to keep me motivated.
Oh, trouble.
Mahomes is already aware of it. Now, Antonio Pierce addressed the team instantly because this went viral on social media. Mahomes is getting asked about it. Pierce said that we nipped it in the bud. It's over with. maybe from your side of the things. You don't think the Chiefs are talking about this? I don't know, man. So we circled it on the calendar, week 8. Mahomes and the Chiefs against the Raiders. Should be a fun one. Chiefs by 30.
Just organizationally, are you surprised this came from the Raiders?
I mean, listen, it's a 7th-round rookie out of Air Force. He might not even make the team, for all we know. He did something dumb. He was all excited to be at camp. People are making fun of Mahomes. And, revenge should be pretty sweet there for Mahomes and the Chiefs. Final story is to the NBA, where the Sixers added Paul George this offseason. Biggest move in the league, and they're confident they can match up with the Celtics next season. How confident? Well, Daryl Morey said this in a recent radio appearance.
I'm a big objective data guy, and, we're right there in the conversation with a very small number of teams, top 3, top 2, top 4 in the league, somewhere in there. Obviously, you got to give the Celtics their credit. They won the title. They're an excellent team. They brought everybody back. They're the target, but we don't feel like we give up anything to them, and we're going to be coming to take the title away from them.
Yeah, Philadelphia talks a lot. Boston wins a lot. Big difference. I think they'll be really good, but should be noted, Embiid has been the big disappointment in the Olympics.
And he's never healthy in the playoffs. And Paul George is always something with that guy. I mean, listen, I don't think we can make a definitive statement on the Sixers until the playoffs are here and who's healthy, right?
I think that's completely fair.
I know you don't want to play that game.
I love Paul George and Maxey, but it's all in the health of the big guy. As the league gets bigger, is he available?
Yeah, and for the Celtics, Porzingis with the surgery, he could be out for like 5 months. So there's a world where the Sixers are the number 1 seed, right? Now, they had home court advantage. No, they actually didn't. 2 years ago, they could have taken out Philly, could have taken out the Celtics, and, of course, Jason Tatum went nuclear in the fourth quarter. But should be good. Sixers, Celtics, probably for the Eastern Conference title.
Keep your eye on the Knicks. Keep your eye on the Knicks, and also keep your eye on Indiana.
I thought you were going to say Orlando.
No. Well, I think Orlando's good, but I think Indiana's ahead of them. J-Mac with the news.
Well, that's the news.
And thanks for stopping by.
The Herd Line News.
So you saw a little of Dabo Swinney. So college football, by the way, has the oldest demographic of all the sports outside of baseball. And baseball and college football, they just go kicking and screaming with any change. As people get older, studies show they get more conservative. They want fewer changes. So NIL was going to ruin college football. Ratings went up. Transfer portal was going to ruin college football. Ratings went up. Pac-12 disbanding going to ruin college football. Last year, ratings went up. Take a deep breath. I remember years ago when Christian McCaffrey at Stanford, it was like a second-tier bowl, said, I'm not going to play in that bowl game. I'm going to go to the NFL. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. If you had to hear another, it's like politics. The world's ending constantly. Democracy at stake. Christian McCaffrey had carried Stanford. No reason to play in like the Liberty Bowl. And so now I like Dabo Swinney, but so here's the story apparently is that as part of the settlement, House versus the NCAA case, schools can no longer be limited in the number of scholarships. But to reduce expenses, because now teams can carry 80, 90, 100 players on scholarships, it's going to get rid of walk-on programs. So a lot of these walk-ons, they're not going to be around college football. And Dabo Swinney was a walk-on at Alabama, so he has great fondness for them. But those kids can all go to FCS schools. Or maybe they earn a scholarship. But there's just walk-ons are not why we watch college football. But Dabo is worked up over walk-ons apparently have a very murky, tenuous future.
The crazy thing is
there's not many coaches that want 105 scholarships. You know, we want to keep our walk-ons. You know, it's hard to manage, you know, that many guys. And when you have that many guys on scholarship, you think you got transfers now. You wait till that number gets there. It's going to be a lot. So it's going to change a lot of things.
Yeah, again, I think the walk-on programs, Nebraska was legendary for years. Clemson's got a good walk-on program. You know what? College football is going to be fine. Basically, in the NCAA case, you cannot limit the number of scholarships a program's going to have. Like Dabo said, that doesn't mean you want 100 scholarships. Now the limit's 85. That's getting blown out. I'm sure some schools will add players, but players also want to go where they can play. And if Georgia's got 105 players, you're not getting on the field unless you're great. They'll be carrying 13 corners, 12 wide receivers. 6 are going to play. 4 are going to play a lot. So it's just college football fans and baseball fans. Any change is met with resistance. And I get it. I was watching a story on HBO last night. I'm watching this series on Charlie Hustle, Pete Rose. And one of the Reds' former announcers said in Cincinnati, there's parts of Cincinnati that have lived there for 50 years. They've never left the house they grew up in. And that's like college football fans. It's very regional, very tribal. We don't want change. All these changes, all I see is the revenue go up and the ratings go up. And ratings are truth serum to the viability of any sport. When college basketballs went down for 15 years, the sport wasn't as viable. If the ratings are good, that means the public's captivated and interested, and nobody's watching for walk-ons. They can go play at Eastern Washington University. They can go play at an FCS school, get a scholarship, have a great time, and actually play. The sport's going to be okay. We're going to go to Steelers camp coming up next. You've staked your claim in the never-ending battle for hot water at your house, but at what cost? Someone is going to have to take a cold shower, right? Wrong. Not with Navian tankless water heaters. The only water heater who only heats. I was talking about Jim Harbaugh earlier, and at the top of next hour, I'm going to have my kind of preview. Bruce Feldman will stop by as well. Big Ten Media Days this week, SEC Media Days the week before. College football is going to be 2 conferences now dominating the 12 spots. Don't be surprised if 8 of the 12 spots go to Big Ten or SEC teams. In fact, I think it's possible the SEC could get almost half of the spots. They won't, because the way it works out, you got to have somebody from the Big 12 and somebody from the ACC. And then either I'll save it for the top of the hour, but the most controversial spot is not going to be the number 1 spot. It's going to be the number 12 spot, which is eventually going to bounce out a really good 2-loss team. And I'll give you the 2 teams in college football that have a chance to get knocked out of the playoff before the season starts. And it's not because they're not top 12 teams in college football. Our buddy Matt Mosley has been covering the Cowboys for a long time. He's got the Doomsday Podcast. Here we go. It is Cowboys camp very quickly upon us. You know, I made the argument earlier with McCarthy. He's had 3 different quarterbacks, the old feisty Favre, the young, aloof, prickly Aaron Rodgers, and the highly coachable but limited athletically Dak Prescott. He's won division titles, a Super Bowl, and if you don't have Brady and Mahomes, your playoff record for Parcells, John Harbaugh, Mike Tomlin, Tony Dungy, Sean Payton is about 500, and that's what his playoff record is. I made the argument, Matt, that because he's coached the Packers and the Cowboys, his situational miscues are blown entirely out of proportion. And that he's a good NFL coach. He's a Tomlin. He's a Pete Carroll. But those guys didn't coach the Cowboys or the Packers. Is that a fair support of Mike McCarthy?
It's somewhat fair. I don't like those. I don't think he's anything like those 2 you mentioned. I think by the force of personality, they bring a different edge. And he simply does not have that edge. And Jerry's put him in a tough spot here going to the final year of his contract. And Jerry, by the way, loves this more than any owner in football, this thought of putting somebody and making them sing for their supper. So I assure you, the one person that is comfortable in this is Jerry. Mike is not. I mean, Mike shared it yesterday. He's not. He said, this is this presents a challenge to he and his coaching staff. And Jerry really does not care. Mike is one of the best regular season coaches really the Cowboys have had in a long time.